There should be an attribution model. It's hard to point your finger on that one particular thing that has helped you convert that lead into a final sale. But PR plays a enabler role. It'll be great to see a mechanism that helps us uh, factor in fact that that particular coverage or a campaign has had in the larger sales process. And even from a brand standpoint, marketers, and even the fact that 50% of all marketing spend is kind of lost, and the fact that you'll never be able to figure out which part of that 50% is actually lost is a problem that will continue to be unsolved for the longest time. My entry into PR happened quite accidentally. I don't have a formal education in communications, so to say. I'm a BCom graduate with MBA in marketing, but happened to also come in close interactions with some early mentors in my career who identified flair for building relationships and uh, using those relationships for the benefit of the organization. And I was recommended PR as a field could be something I can potentially explore. This was more than 10 years back, and I haven't questioned a single bit on what happened thereafter. Now here I am leading global communications for WebEngage. We do a lot of exciting, interesting work, especially the fact that we're a B2B SaaS company, and the playground is very different from the generic day-to-day PR that happens. So a lot of interesting things have happened in the past 10, 11 years, and I'm really grateful for all the people who have had supporting me in the background and helping me reach where I've reached. So there's that. So WebEngage does a lot of interesting work, which is very different from traditional PR, and likely so is the requirement of the business because we are an industry, we are a internet-first company. We help brands with their retention marketing. This category in itself did not exist in its truest sense, but ever since we started consciously working on creating this, we've been able to do some great work. Some of which includes some of my favorite campaigns include the Retention Marketing 30 Under 30 award that we commissioned with one of the largest news publication in the country. We've actually commissioned a category that did not exist and are looking to reward or recognize people who are doing some great work within the sector. It's our attempt to formalize the industry as a whole and also um, bring about some of the great work that's happening in the industry from a retention marketing perspective to a larger public domain. So that's one of a very interesting campaign that we've done. A lot of work from a PR perspective, from a content perspective, from an events and community building perspective that's gone into it. Data as a function in communications has also evolved quite drastically. I remember from the very first time that I had my interaction with data was very manual from that perspective. We worked with an organization which I don't think exists anymore, but they used to help us track and quantify and qualify the kind of coverage that media would give. And you'd have to do a manual job identifying the reach, the advertising equivalent values, and so on, which to a large extent, if you look at today, it's been more than a decade, but it feels as if this was the last century from that perspective. Basically, is now kind of automated, if not all, most of those processes. How we use it is purely from a viewpoint of identifying opportunities, finding out who are the people talking about the topics which are of interest to us, what are the conversations that are happening from a competition standpoint, and there's a lot of data that goes into identifying kind of communication that we want to put across, especially for a business like WebEngage, which has uh, which has a very complex stakeholder matrix. We have the new economic folks, the old economic folks, the marketing side of people, the product side of people, the tech side of people, the green field audience, the brown field audience. There's just a lot for us to be able to put all of this together, which data makes it slightly easier. The most interesting metric from a data standpoint for PR for us is the share of voice. WebEngage has for the past 1.5 years or more continued to maintain its number one position in share of voice as compared to the competition. Not just in the India market, but also in the Middle East and Indonesia, and Africa, so on and so forth. That's my key metric that I use to measure the success of my campaign. There are then qualitative layers on top of it, such as the headline mentions, the leadership mentions, the tonality and the neutrality of the article. From an ROI point of view, PR alone doesn't play a huge role unless it's combined with the different elements of marketing that we run here as a team at WebEngage. PR lies on the top of the funnel for a company like WebEngage, and imagine it's true for a lot of different organizations as well. It helps us bring in the awareness. It helps us convert the green field into brown field from that perspective. The basic idea is to ensure that any and every conversation that's happening outside of the media domain has an inclusion of WebEngage in some or the other sense. And this is done through PR, through community efforts, through our events and brand efforts, and so on and so forth. So all of this combined gets fed into a system which is run through HubSpot, and the data run through it, and it helps us from two standpoints: one from a brand building point of view, and the other from a lead generation standpoint. So both of these things together help us justify the work that we are doing in communications as a whole, and marketing communications as a whole, and PR plays a very important role. If I have to simplify this, that in a sense that benefits the larger ecosystem, preferably the audience that is looking to this, is that there should be an attribution model. While it's hard to pinpoint, it's hard to point your finger on that one particular thing that has helped you convert that lead into a final sale. But PR plays an enabler role. It will be great to see a mechanism that helps us factor in the impact that particular coverage or a campaign has had in the larger sales process. And even from a brand standpoint, marketers believe in the fact that 50% of all marketing spend is kind of lost, and the fact that you'll never be able to figure out which part of that 50% is actually lost is a problem that will continue to be unsolved for the longest time. If there are ways, and we are going to way evolved than what it used to be when this proverb came into being. If you're able to figure a way in which technology can help us solve this attribution problem, I think our job here is done. So, from a communication standpoint, the messaging certainly differs across different sectors. We are talking a different language to the startup guys than we are speaking to the enterprise folks. The strategy is very simple. We are leaders in the startup ecosystem as long as marketing automation is concerned. And we are building and strengthening our position on the enterprise ecosystem as well. Startup is plain and simple. We continue to maintain a larger share of voice. This is done through interviews, articles, very strategically placed pieces of news and things like that. From an enterprise point of view, we still need to build the trust, which is a core focus as we go ahead. We ensure we put in our ABM and performance efforts behind all the PR routing that we're doing. For example, we made a media announcement of onboarding Akasa Air as one of our very recent clients. We're making sure that particular piece of coverage that Economic Times has covered through our press release that was sent out is being flashed to every airline CEO or CXO across India or anyone who's working in that industry. And that's how we ensure the credibility that's added through media is amplified across the right channels. Both AI and ChatGPT are most definitely some of the most unique and innovative solutions that have come in the public forum in the recent past. Um, it has a very interesting impact from a PR perspective as well. The industry will get to learn and experiment a lot more, a lot differently, especially when it comes to doing data-driven communication. The entirety of manual labor, be it from uh, analysis of your ICP or understanding the messaging or drafting that messaging from a content standpoint is concerned, all of these things will get more sharpened as we go ahead. And I personally feel the sharpest of minds who are currently in my industry, my peers, uh, are going to make the best use of it and try and find that gap between attribution and PR and solve for it as we go. So very interesting times. I think it's definitely going to help, and it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. If I were the young guy who PR, what I would say to him is that there are a lot of interesting times ahead. There's a lot that you'll be able to do. There's a lot that you'll be able to accomplish, and there's a lot of creative, innovative stuff for you out there just to go out and grab. You'll run a lot of interesting campaigns. That's something that I can give you in writing, no matter what organization you are in or what level you are at. Once you're there, you'll have enough and more to explore and experiment and learn and fail and improve and succeed in. Just keep at it. Try and understand the larger impact of the work that you're doing. Unfortunately or fortunately, the industry, in a certain sense, limits you to the outcome, but it limits you to the piece of coverage that's coming. But there's a lot more at it. The more perspectives that you build, uh, the better it will be for you. And go out there, experiment. There's a whole range of different things for you to do. It's just not uh, the next clip of coverage and where it's coming from, but actually building a lot many stuff across litigation, communications, crisis, government affairs, strategic communications, strategic affairs. There's a lot for you to do. Keep an open mind, grow, achieve what you're setting out to achieve.